Hi, my name is Carly Hufnagel, and I am wanting to talk about my educational journey this semester from my educational core studies class 210. In this semester we talked a lot about curriculum and a whole bunch of ways that curriculum has linked to a lot of social inequality. And so in this video I'm just going to discuss some of the main topics differently based off of these lectures. So I'm going to start off with talking about a quote from my prof, Mike, who said the idea that racism is the air we breathe. And he also followed that with, "I will always be a recovering racist, but I will always be an advocate of social and racial equality." So that was kind of a difficult thing to hear right off the bat. I think we live in a society that is very set up to believe that, if we don't talk about racism, it doesn't exist. If we don't admit there's a problem, then there's not a problem. And one of the main things that I've found from working with these classes in general is the idea that as white people, we have the choice to not believe in racism. We have the choice to ignore it, which is an issue, clearly. But one of the main things is that we, as a society, we don't like to talk about how people are racist, and nobody wants to admit that they're racist, even though we have been socially conditioned to have racist thoughts and to be racist, and it just continues to perpetuate the cycle by not ever talking about it and not being part of the solution. So even looking at a curriculum document is set up for white people to succeed and for students of other ethnicities to not do as well, because we're going written, you look at the curriculum document and majority of it has been written by white people. It's set up with white people in mind, and it is not set up to particularly benefit anyone who's not white. For instance, one of the things we talked about was the math curriculum, how it was in an Inuit school that they were talking about teaching them math, and they had Inuit teachers who taught them how to do this math. And then they took them into a white classroom and had them take a test, a standardized test. But when they took the standardized test, they failed miserably, even though ahead of other students from other schools in almost every other subject. So there becomes the issue of, why is this even a thing to begin with? But then if you look at it and you realize that the way that they do math is different than the way that our Western European society does math. We set it up with the idea that we are in base 10 and that's the only correct way to do math. But the Inuit people do their math in base 20. So automatically right off the bat we're setting them up for failure because we're not allowing different ideologies surrounding how to count numbers. What's to say that the Western ideal in counting in base 10 is the correct way? Just because we have 10 fingers, well, we have 10 fingers and 10 toes, that's base 20. So I think just the main thing that I really got out of this course is the idea that we really need to stop and think about why we do things. We can't just keep blindly accepting things as common sense without really taking the time to look it over and really question the reasoning behind our choices. And so I think that's something I'm really going to hold with me, hopefully, when I enter the education faculty and I become a teacher. I really hope that I remember that, and I will make it my goal to remember that we can't always take things at face value, and we really need to think about the reasoning and why we do things, because if we don't ever question why we do things, we're never going to change the way we do things, and that is an issue. Thank you for watching my video. Have a nice day.